Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Here we go.
This following critical incident briefing is intended to provide you with information about a recent incident which resulted in a deputy-involved shooting. This briefing has been prepared so that you may have a better understanding of the circumstances which led to the use of force. As a part of this briefing, you may be shown photographs of the scene and the evidence involved.
Alright, we'll skip this.
A black department all caution. Law enforcement officer use can be graphic and difficult to watch. Viewer discretion is advised. On Sunday, October 3rd, 2021, at approximately 3:31 p.m., Santa Clarita Station received a telephone call regarding a family disturbance, where a family member was causing a disturbance at their residence in the 24,900 block of Chicory Court in Stevenson Ranch. The caller reported the male had a history of drug use, was being a nuisance, and he said to call the police so they can, quote, just shoot me, end quote.
911.
Hello?
911, what's your emergency?
Yes, my son is, he's going a little bit crazy because he's out of his drugs. I'm here by myself with him. We've been in the same house for 30 years. He doesn't have any records. He has no weapons,
Okay.
but he needs to be in detox. He needs to be taken away. I'm by myself, and this has been going on a decade.
What is he doing right now?
Well, he's raging because he can't get into a detox.
What is he doing right now?
Well, he was talking so damn loud.
Ma'am, what is he doing right now is my question.
He's just downstairs. But, I think he wants to, cause, he's already causing a scene, but he's like, call him, they can just shoot me. But what I'm trying to say is this kid has nothing. He's just like a little 16-year-old, but someone needs to come over here and just try to calm him down and take him. What's that?
You said, I'm just trying to understand something better. He's 16, but he needs to be on a detox from what?
No, he's not 16. He's 30 years old, but he acts like he's 16. What I'm saying is that he's not some old man, a violent old man, but you know what? He's violent enough with his voice and screaming.
Got it.
And he's
So
insane.
if I send deputies, what would you like
He
them to
needs
do?
to be taken for that 48-hour hold or something.
So, excuse me. This is a pretty common thing all across the nation. People being addicted to drugs and living with family, and problems arise from that. A lot of people in this nation, in this world, are addicted to substance. Whether it be hard drugs, soft drugs, alcohol, whatever. There's a lot of addictions there. And then there's addictions for other things, like nicotine and, someone's got a Coca-Cola addiction or a Mountain Dew addiction or whatever, chocolate addiction, whatever. There's all kinds of different addictions, but some of them are more destructive than others, and drugs is one of those big ones. And there's so many people on drugs. It's devastating. I would say that, obviously I don't know what drugs this person's on, but I'd say at this point, getting to where it's at, it's got to be, it's obviously not just marijuana, right? Like, typically people who are addicted to marijuana, if you can say people are addicted to marijuana, it kind of makes me think of that scene off of half baked. Marijuana? You addicted to marijuana? They typically will not act that crazy. It's when people start getting into the heavier drugs, that's when you start seeing the big problems. And it sucks for families who are stuck with someone who's like this. As easy as it would be to say, it's easier to say than do. But if there's a way to disconnect from that person, then that is the best route to go, because some people just can't be fixed. There is no rehabilitating some people, and these people will mooch and mooch and mooch and exploit until there's nothing left to mooch, or they've exhausted all means of exploiting. Oftentimes this occurs with moms and grandmas. The drug addict will mooch off of mom, play on the heartstrings of mom, and what mom can, 100% just turn the child away. Same with grandma. And they'll keep getting money from mom. Mom will let them stay at home, let them live there. Doesn't really, get on to them. They might say something, but they don't do anything to control them. And they can't physically control them. Just like when they was a teenager, they can't physically do anything about it. They just, in a way, they're enablers. It's kind of a sad way to label them, because they're kind of in this place between a rock and a hard place, being, the parent of that child. But that's really realistically what's going on, is the family members are enabling those drug addicts, and they're giving them safe havens. They're giving them a roof. They're giving them food. They're giving them money, etc. And all these people do is continue to do drugs, and they don't come clean. They might, sometimes some of them might go to a detox or whatever, but those rehab places, they're mostly faith-based kind of stuff. People with do good intentions. Realistically, if a person's going to come clean off drugs, it's going to be on their own doing. It's not going to be because some group came out and took them in and showed them some stuff. I'm not saying it can't happen. There's some people that that may have happened to, but by and large, when you look at and here's the thing too, like, these numbers aren't easily out there. Like, you just can't go look up stuff. But when you look at it, by and large, there's a lot of repeat people going into rehab places. They go into multiple different places. You look at drug court. There's a lot of repeat offenders who end up in drug court, even when a person's in the process of drug court itself. If you can get the records and look at them, you'll see that there's a bunch of them who piss hot. Like, they'll do a piss test and they piss hot. The court won't throw them in jail or nothing. They'll give them another chance. They might miss a meeting. The caseworker gives them another chance. So in a way, I think drug court and the courts are enablers as well. But yeah, like, just so many people are in this position where they're in a person's home, they're mooching off of them, etc., and then it gets to a volatile situation where there's a lot of tension and the person's just not acting right. And that sucks. That really does. But if people could, at the very beginning stage of their addiction problem, where it's a light problem, do their due diligence, do the things that these rehab places, the detox places would do, like have your own drug kits at home. Tell them, hey, you're going to do this drug test or XYZ is going to happen. And give them the ultimatum. Like, you've got, give them a time frame. If you're not clean by this time frame, you're going to have to find somewhere else to go. You're not staying in this house and eating up all of our resources. We're not going to continue throwing money at you when you're not doing what you need to be doing to get yourself fixed. And Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that willpower because it is involving a family member, and when it's parents and children, that love for the child overrides any logical thinking, and so they become an enabler. They continue to let them stay there, live under their room or live under their roof, and they feed them and give them money and allow them to continue on with their drug addiction. So this woman's in a bad spot with this person. This person's a drug addict and living in their house, and it has been going on for quite some time. So who knows all the sad stories that those walls in that house could tell. I guarantee you could probably tell a lot of sad stories.
It didn't have to happen.
Prior to the deputy's arrival, the caller provided additional information, indicating the male was suicidal and possibly armed with a gun. The male was later identified as Christopher Lee Mosco, a 32-year-old resident of Stevenson Ranch.
911, what's the emergency?
Yes, I called earlier. I'm on Fifth Court. My son locked himself in my bedroom, and I don't know if there was anything in there, but he's saying, you know, I'm ready to die, I'm ready to go, and so I'm in my car at the corner of my street in my vehicle, and I'm watching to see if he comes out, but, you know, he scared me enough that I freaking got in my car, and I tried to kick the door of my bedroom, but he's just screaming, I'm ready.
He's screaming he's ready to die?
Yeah.
Deputies arrived on scene and contained the residents from a distance. The deputies received additional information that Mosco was armed with a gun.
I'm sorry, there is a gun in the home?
Yes.
Okay, and then where's it at?
In our bedroom, and that's where he locked the door, and I heard it, and, you know, I heard him screaming, and that's when I said, I grabbed my purse, and I got in my car.
Deputies requested additional resources.
So she says she heard it in that right there.
He's screaming he's ready to die?
Door of my bedroom, but he's just comes out, but to go, and so I'm in my car at the corner of my street there, but he's saying.
And then she says earlier, I don't know if there's anything in there. So this woman, to me, I don't think she knows her fucking ass from a hole in the ground. Like, how do you go from saying, I don't know if there's anything in there, and then, oh yeah, there's a gun in there. Like, come on now.
He's just screaming.
On scene and contained the residents from a distance. The deputies received additional information that Mosco was armed with a gun.
I'm sorry, there is a gun.
In our bedroom, and that's when he was screaming, and that's when I said, I grabbed my purse, and I got in my car.
Deputies requested additional resources to respond, which included a sheriff's helicopter and the mental evaluation team. Mosco was located at an upstairs bedroom window of the residence, visible from the street, armed with a long gun. The deputies began utilizing their vehicle's public announcement system to order Mosco to drop the weapon and surrender to deputies who were there to help him. After approximately 10 minutes, Mosco leaned out of the window, pointed the long gun at the deputies, and a deputy-involved shooting occurred. Mosco retreated into the bedroom out of sight, and approximately 1 minute later, he reappeared at the window, pointing the long gun at the deputies, and a second deputy-involved shooting occurred.
SBC Santa Clarita 66. Just be advised the suspect's pointing along the rifle at us.
Santa Clarita 66.
So there's no video that goes with this. It's just that still image and then this radio chatter. But the way it sounds like to me is this deputy is observing this dude pointing a fucking gun at them, and instead of shooting, he decides to talk on the radio. That is a fucking problem. Somebody points a gun at you, you need to take action. You need to do something about that. You need to make them stop pointing that gun at you. Talking on the radio to dispatch, telling them that the person is pointing a gun at you, isn't going to solve the fucking problem. As soon as you complete that sentence, that person could fucking shoot you. And then you're not going to be talking to anybody at that point.
Advising the suspect pointing a long rifle.
1033-998.
1033-998.
Hey, ma'am, 998-998.
So 998 should be shots fired.
Deputy or suspect.
Hey, ma'am, unknown if suspect is down. One shot was fired towards the suspect's direction.
One shot was fired towards the suspect's direction. Unknown if he's down. Confirmed. Did he go back into the house?
Hey, ma'am, we're conducting additional call-out. Suspect was back inside the house.
Conducting additional call-out. Suspect back inside the house. And again, one shot was fired. Unknown if he was down. Was pointing a long rifle.
Outside the window. 417 was inside of his hand. The 417 is now on the roof. However, it's still within his reach.
I'm sorry, you were covered. Confirmed the 417 is now on the roof.
Hey, ma'am, STC, the suspect was out the window. He pointed the 417 towards deputy's direction. 2 shots were fired. Suspect had the 417 in his hand. He dropped it. Now it's on the roof. However, it's still within his reach. He is currently heading out the window. He's reaching back towards the 417 a fourth time.
After the shooting, the deputies believe Mosco was inside the residence and injured as a result of being struck by gunfire. A rescue team was formed. The team approached in an armored vehicle, and deputies made entry into the residence. Deputies located Mosco on the floor in an upstairs bedroom, unresponsive and suffering from a gunshot wound to the upper body. Deputies immediately rendered medical aid until the arrival of Los Angeles County Fire Department paramedics, who continued life-saving efforts, but Mosco was pronounced dead. There were no other persons injured in the incident. A loaded 12-gauge shotgun was recovered.
All right, we'll come back to this. So, unfortunately, there is no video. It's just a couple photos of the scene. This is where the Los Angeles Sheriff's Office fails in a lot of ways when it comes to these things. So, this is a photo. I'm assuming this is probably a still image from either someone's body camera or a dash cam. Dude's in this window, and they are some distance away. You can tell this is a zoomed in kind of photo. It's pretty pixelated. Pistols are not going to be useful in this scenario. Rifles are going to be what's needed for this. Making a shot at a distance, and the fact that it is a gunfight. You need rifles for gunfights. The rule for gunfighting is you go to a gunfight with a rifle, and you bring your friends with rifles. Now, obviously, I don't know how many rifles and stuff are involved in this, but we do see that this window is open. This looks like part of the screen or something like that, kind of being knocked down off of it. So this is an open window. At this point, you know, I don't know how soon into this, this is occurring or whatever. The time frame is not exactly clear. But if they had irritants, they could have launched some paper balls in there. Of course, the paper balls would have only affected that room. He would have gone away from that window and maybe gone to another window. They could have launched some type of CNCS grenade in through that window and start filling it with gas. He would either A, try and pick that thing up and throw it back out the window, or he would leave that immediate room and go to the next room, and then the smoke and the gas will fill that void up there too, and then he'd have to maybe go downstairs to avoid all that, at which point they could throw in one through the bottom window as well to smoke his ass out, so to speak. Those are options, but like I said, I don't know the time frame involved. I don't know if this happened right immediately as soon as they got there and they didn't have anyone on scene that had that specialized equipment or anything like that. But he does present himself with the long gun, and someone takes the shot. So a rifle, like I said, is what's needed for this because it's going to be more accurate and it's going to have more incapacitating power. A rifle, a patrol rifle, a red dot optic is going to be the most likely thing to be on there. If you can have a magnifier on there, that's great, because then you can obviously, add some magnification to that, see a little bit better. If there's a rifle that has like an actual dedicated scope on it, of course that's going to be the winner for this, because you'll be able to get very accurate with that kind of sight. But having a dedicated scope on a rifle, when you need to use that rifle for different things other than very, very precise shooting, it's not likely you're going to see that on the patrol side. You may have a person who's specially trained for that and they have a rifle for that, but it's not like every car is going to have a setup like that. It's going to be red dots is going to be the norm, because you have a wide varying range of distances that could be utilized, anywhere from 10 feet to 200 yards or something like that. And a red dot will cover all that. But if you throw a magnifier on there, like an EOTech G33, that does give you a little bit more of an advantage with kind of targets like this, where you need just a little bit more magnification to really get the red dot on precisely where you want it at.
Window, pointing the long gun at the deputies, and he's
6'6".
So he noted that the second time he came to the window, they shot and the gun fell down. And that he was reaching for the gun.
Mosco was inside the residence.
That whole reaching for the gun thing, that's what's he going to do once he gets a hold of that gun? If someone is pointing a gun at you and you've had to shoot them and the gun has dropped and they are reaching for that gun, that's a clear indication that they're wanting to continue the fight. They're wanting to try and still kill you. So just because they don't have it in their hand at that moment doesn't mean that you can't shoot. If they are reaching for it and they're trying to get it, that's justification to start shooting at that point. Now they formulated a rescue team here. Armored vehicle pulled up. Don't know any more than that. Really would have liked to have seen the footage from that, but unfortunately they don't believe in body cameras. Or if they do, they don't believe in releasing it on this one. So 12 gauge shotgun. This is one of those AR themed shotguns with a detachable magazine on it. I guess it looks cool, but there's a reason why you do not see any professionals using stuff like this. I don't know of any SWAT teams that have this crap. It's just not quality stuff. Now it's not. Now, I'm not saying that it won't kill. Yeah, it'll definitely deliver 12 gauge payload. Who knows what he had in it? Probably, most likely, there was like birdshot in there. Birdshot's still deadly, but it probably had something stupid like birdshot in there. Why? Because it's the cheapest thing people can get a hold of. Highly doubt that he had a magazine full of slugs in there. But if he did have a magazine full of slugs in there and he was recessed into that room and aiming out, yeah, he could have been a bit of a problem there for a little bit. And he could have fired from within the room, in the dark room, from concealment, aiming at one of the vehicles, could see maybe the silhouette of a person with all the flashing lights going on there, and potentially deliver a slug into someone. And the police, not knowing exactly where he's at, and being limited with how they can respond, they may not have been able to open up, so to speak, and lay down a bunch of fire into that house. Although that would be, the potential thing to do, is just start punching rounds through the wall. Just because the person is not standing in the window looking out doesn't mean they're not reachable by bullets. Regular residential houses, depending on the structure and makeup and everything, bullets can go through through walls. Now, if you're looking at brick houses and stuff like that, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but standard residential construction, you can punch through the walls pretty easily with rifle stuff. So even if he was not directly in the window, they still could have, fired into the window itself and fired into the wall to the side, to each side of the window and a little bit below, and those rounds could have passed through those walls and gone into the room. Now, that is a type of shooting that in some places is frowned upon. It's forbidden in some places policies. You have to see the target. You just can't, shoot through a wall or something like that. But there are some places that do allow for that. And there are certain times where if it is allowed, it may not be a wise thing to do because you got to know your target and what is behind it. But there are some times where the stars align and the environment allows for it and the policies allow for it, and you should do that. Punch holes through those walls and fucking, do work.
Was recovered at the scene. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department has begun a thorough and in-depth investigation. Homicide investigators will continue to investigate this at the scene.
All right, so that's it. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.